Hey, what's going on, guys? Recently I got yet another request from one of my subscribers asking me to help him with the BeautifulSoup selectors and data extraction. So he needs to extract the field highlighted in green at this moment, and he provides the screenshot right over here, and this is the screenshot. So he wants to extract this kind of data, and also he provides the link to extract this data from. So this kind of link, okay, this link, and here we got the link, and this is the exact data he wants to scrape. So but just a few words before we start writing some code. So he said, like, I encountered that BeautifulSoup does not support such complicated selectors like h2 plus and all this stuff. This selector is generated via selector gadget, an open source Chrome extension that makes CSS selector generation. And you know, guys, this is the key problem here. You know, like, instead of using this ready-made software to generate selectors, it's way better to dive into the documentation of the particular data extracting library, the data parsing library you're using. Like, in this case, this is BeautifulSoup. If you're using Scrapey, that has a different logic of CSS of data extraction using the CSS selectors. So it's not a good idea to use the already existing say Chrome extensions for this purpose, because the format for the CSS for the data extraction using the CSS selector is not there is no one single standard for that. So say if we're talking about the XPath, it's the separate language itself. So XPath is a language, while CSS has a different syntax in regards to the particular selectors. So in order to extract the data from the particular selector. So in this video I'm going to show you how to walk through the process of data extraction using the BeautifulSoup library, and I hope this would be the best way to go. So he also asks me not to extract the field instead of me, so instead of him, but would like to request a tutorial to cover practices of using CSS selectors in BeautifulSoup. But unfortunately I can see no way other than to extract this instead of you, man. I'm sorry for this, but I can't explain this different. But I will also try to cover like kind of the general principle that one should follow in order to be able to extract whatever data using BeautifulSoup. So if you're interested, let's actually start writing some code. So here first I would like to provide a little header. So I would like to call this BeautifulSoup cheat sheet, because this is exactly what it is intended to be. So BeautifulSoup cheat sheet by Code Monkey King, which is me, for those of you who don't know this yet. Code Monkey King. Okay, so as far as we got this nice little header explaining what the code below is doing, we can go to write in the actual code. So first we need to import some packages, and I would like to say import requests to be able to make outgoing HTTP requests, and from BS4 import BeautifulSoup, and BS4 is BeautifulSoup for the parsing library we are working with, and this BeautifulSoup object, well, probably it's a class, I'm not sure, is the one that or the method, I'm not sure, probably, I don't know. So we're gonna be using this in order to parse our data. So the next thing to consider, we need to make well, before making a HTTP request, so we need to define the target URL to crawl, and I will make use of this one. So URL would be equal to this stuff, and then we need to make HTTP request to the target URL. Okay, so I'm creating the response object that would be equal to requests.get, and I'm using the URL as a parameter. If you want to provide some headers or proxies, you can say headers equals or proxies equals and so on, but it's not it's that doesn't rely within the scope of this tutorial. You can check out my request library crash course for the detailed information. Okay, and also, so now we need the next thing to consider is to parse the entire content. But before we do this, let's just try to print our response.text to make sure that we've succeeded doing this HTTP request. So I'm running this file by typing python3 selector.py this file. So the terminal is being opened within the current working directory. It lags a little bit because, I don't know, maybe the site response time is not great, or my connection, my internet connection sucks, I don't know, but still we got this response. And as far as we did obtain our response, now we can actually parse HTML response. So the HTML part of HTTP response. So I used to call this variable content. So content would be equal BeautifulSoup, and the first argument would be the response object, and while the second argument I specified the XML parser, because I really like it's fast and nice instead of HTML.parser. So XML parser instead. And in order to run this code, you need to pip install requests, XML, and BS4. Just if you don't know how to do this, you can reference some other videos on this channel within the requests and BeautifulSoup one-time scrapers playlist on this channel. Okay, so now we can print the entire content, but from the user perspective it would see literally the same, because kind of the same HTML document in return basically. So the next thing, while it's loading, the next thing to consider, so it's you can consider this like again like a cheat sheet. So the next step, so I mean I can even you know, like formulate this as steps. So first step, I don't know, is this or maybe like this step 1, import packages, like step 2, define target URL, step 3, make HTTP request to the target URL, step 4, and parse HTML part of the HTTP response. So literally parse so I would better say parse entire HTML document like this. Okay, and finally step 5, we need to parse parent element containing needed data. Okay, so, and just in order to parse this, so well we can call this parent. Okay, parent, and it would be equal to content dot, I don't know, find or find all, it depends on the particular selector we encounter. So I just want to inspect this element by right clicking and click this inspect. We got the developer tools being opened with all the elements tab, and here we got our span containing the text we're supposed to be extracted. But you know, like if we say just span without specifying any unique attributes, it would give us literally all the spans available on this page, and we don't really want that, right? So we need to find some sort of a parent class. So in this case, this one seems to be the exact div that serves as a parent class for this sort of a span. So I'm not sure if there are any other spans, so let's have this div class. No, so this span is really unique to this div class, and that's why we can actually consider this div class to be the parent for this span. And that's one of possible ways of to find some sort of a unique elements on the page. So I just grab the entire class set of the classes here. And as far as so also I would need to check that out if we have the only element. So just view the page source and try to find this. So we got the only element, right? So one of one, so not one of two or of three. So that means that we need to find the only element, and we can make use of the find method instead of find all. So if we want to find the one element, the single element, we just type find. I'm really sorry for this environmental sounds, because like probably my neighbor hates when I'm talking English all the day long, and probably it makes him nervous, so in return he's crashing the grass around around the hedge, and probably that's his revenge to me. Well, I don't know. So find, or if you need to find the multiple elements, you can simply say find all, and this would return the list of the selectors. But we need only to find, and we need to specify, first we need to specify the tag name, it would be the div, and then we need to specify the selector that we're supposed to be distinguishing the tag by. And I'm using class here, and I just paste all the set of available classes within this class field. That's kind of it. And now I just want to print not the content, but this parent variable, and I want to get all text from this element. So let's run around this again. I'm not sure this is something. When did this appear? I'm not sure. Oh, it did fail to. Oh, sorry, not response, but response.text. Obviously, just I did pass the entire response object instead of only the textual data. I'm sorry for this, guys. Response.text, obviously, yeah, for sure. So just to bear that in mind as well, which is very important. So we need just this HTML data. We don't need headers or cookies or whatever else element. So yeah, now we got this, and here you see like we already got this text Tom and Ray Magliozzi inside here, which means that from now on we can recursively search for a span. So, and step 6, and I guess this would be the very last step. So we just need to parse child element containing the exact data we need. And here, well, let's just call this child, and it would be now parent. So we're not searching within the entire content, we're just searching within the parent, and that's the principle of recursive search within the selectors in BeautifulSoup. And literally the same technique is available in Scrapy CSS selectors. So parent.find, and again I'm not using find all because there is the only span available right over in here. You select this div and it has the only span. I could have also no, I don't need this strong tag because it would give me a host, but I need this Tom and Ray Magliozzi, that's it. So I don't need, so I need to make use only of the span and the only span here. So I'm looking for a span tag, and no, it doesn't have any attributes, right? It doesn't have attributes. The span is just the bare tag, and I want to get the text. So this text attribute just to extract the textual node of the given selector. If I don't specify this, it would give me the HTML. So let me just better just show you this. So let's print the child, and okay, so this would give us the entire like span tag followed by what is there inside that tag. I'm sorry for this lag in internet. I'm not sure if it's the matter of my side. Okay, so here we got this element. If it does contain some nested elements, they are also kind of being selected here. But if it just specify the text attribute of this or the selector, we'll get the bare string text. Okay, and also we'll probably need to strip this space just in order to leave Tom and Ray without extra spaces. So that's how it's usually done for the data extraction. Okay, so for some reason we still have this host. Well, yeah, probably this is the BeautifulSoup specific. So, well, doesn't matter. So now we can actually let's add one more step. Step 7. Extract. So split the target string if needed, and I would say like data would be equal child dot split, and I want to split this by colon followed by the empty space, and I want to take the very last element, so -1 stands for the last element within the list, and print the data. And actually, yeah, step 8, like print data to console. Okay, save, and I hope to see Tom and Ray Magliotti at the moment without any host here, so just the bare text we're supposed to be extracting here. And yeah, this is it basically. So the steps represented in this particular tutorial actually are useful for whatever data extraction. So let's say you need to extract whatever element here. You just, so say you want to extract this sort of description, right? So we see that this here we got a class preline, and let's see, so it already has some text. So now we need to make sure if we need to figure out if this is the unique class or not. So I just copy this class and go into the source code and try to find, so see, like already we got 2 of this preline class, so this one and this one. So if we just try to extract, so on the fixed documents we can distinguish them by indexes. So say p class preline, the first element would be this one and the second element would be this one. So let me just let me try to show you this, guys, as well. So here I would like to say select. So I just want to create another here. So let's say useful data extraction techniques. Okay, so and the very first one would be extract data by unique class. Well, let's actually start with extracting data by unique class. First I need to find some sort of unique class here. Not sure which one in particular would be appropriate. I'm not really sure. Category, so which one to consider. If I just try to span okay, so let's actually make use of this guy. I will just split them later on. So preline, so I just define I find the class name, the unique class name, I copy this, I remember the tag name, and let's say so we got here about and about the host. Well, let's call this description, and let's call this kind of host. Okay, so let's create the description variable. So we already have our content, which we can make use of. Furthermore, so content would be so content dot. If I say let's say extract first data occurrence did I spell occurrence correctly? Sorry guys, I just need to check this in Google Translate to make sure I didn't make any mistake there. Occurrence. Okay. Can I say data occurrence? Just wondering. Yeah, exactly. So if we extract first data occurrence by unique class content dot find, so we're using the find method, just like right over in here, and we're looking for a p tag, and now we specify the attribute we're searching by. So this would be a class, and here we're using this. Oh my god, I kicked that already. So pre-line, okay, copy and pre-line, save. And actually, if we use the find method, we can't say like dot text, because it's not a list, so it does have the textual attribute inside. So let's try to print our description. So it should have print as the very first part from this one. So America's Finest Auto Mechanics. So this should be printed, this kind of text. Well, at least I really hope so. Let's see. Yeah, America's Funniest. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I can start this from a new line. Just add an extra new line here. So here we did match the first occurrence. Here extract all data occurrences by unique class. So here we'll use literally the same, but so we call this let's say text. So, and here we would say find all. But let me show you one little thing. If we just use the text attribute for find all, we would encounter an error, because it says like the element is ready to be a list or something like that, because we can't perform this text field inner field extraction for the list element, because find all would return the type of list, just to bear that in mind. So in order to convert, yeah, you see, like, so you mean find instead of find all, right? But so in order to make this, I'm using the technique that is known as the list comprehension. So here is the syntax for the list comprehension. So I can say like text. So if this would be a one line, it would be like text for text in, like this. But we don't need the text, because this text would also contain the data enclosed within the text, but we need to say text.text. So maybe it would be better to say this like element or item. Yeah, so item for item in text. And also just to prettify the layout, I'm used to specifying just providing the layout of code this like way. So here we would be extracting the textual data from every single item available. In our case, it would be just the two items, because the first one is this one, this about section. The second one would be this about the hosts. So literally two strings. So the text at this moment, the text would be the list of two strings. And let me just demonstrate you this. Okay. And if we want to, for some reason, we would like to join those strings. Well, I will just show you this right in a moment. So you see, like, first one is this kind of America's first font is literally the copy of this part. So America's and blah blah so on, and then it's the first element of the list, and then Tom and Ray McLeod's and blah blah blah, and this is the second element. So we can now reference. So let's just go step by step. So we can reference similar data occurrences by indexes, by oh my god, I don't know how to how to spell index in plural. Okay, let's keep it in single. So reference symbol data occurrences by index. So well, here we would say like print and just print all, and here we can say print and text 0 and print and text element number 1. Obviously we can reference this index within the for loop, so just to show you this. Okay, it's just working, so I just want to provide the next part. Also we can join list elements into one single string, join by whatever characters, so by whatever character. So here I would like to say simply print, and again like the new line, and here I would like to say so we can join, let's join by the new line, say, and okay, let's just join this by the new line. So I just wanna, okay, joined by new line, just to distinguish on in the console, and here dot join and text like this. So it's already did print index of 0, index of 1, and now let's have a look at the text that's been joined, and here we would see the joined by new line string as well. So just to make it clear. Okay. It goes so slow for some reason. Okay, so the next thing to consider, we can also extract data. We can not only reference by the class, but we can also reference by whatever attribute, say by ID. And I just want to show you this. Is there any ID? Let's just try to figure that out. So ID equals, I just want to find some data that has an ID and the textual data within its site. Well, let's say this one, it's totally useless from the data extraction perspective, but it shows exactly of how in particular we can reference not by class but by ID. So let's consider this one, copy. So did it already work? I can see my join by new line. It has to be somewhere over in here. Yeah, this is it. So we got a new line, then we got joined by new line, and as far as it didn't provide anything, it just goes for another text. So here I would like to say like another new line basically. But yeah, I'll show you this just right in a moment. So now we want to reference by whatever attribute, reference element by whatever attribute, ID in this case. So we can say, so let's call it, this was button, right? So button would be equal to content.find, and I'm looking for a, I guess, button tag. Yeah, button tag and button, and the ID would be equal to this search, and dot text to reference the textual node of this sort of a button. So just print our button. We'll have this search value this search value. Okay, so let's try. And also I want to try to search for some sort of a href. So I just want to find some sort of a link, nav link. Well, no unique links, but okay, that doesn't matter. So the very last thing, so do we already have this? Yeah, you got this search, right? So we did extract the data by the ID, not by the class name, like here. So here I would also like to say extract other but textual node data. An example, like whatever href attribute or whatever. So let's print the links, and it would be equal to content dot find. Let's this case let's use find all. Or okay, let's just use find just to make it easier, and a tag. And in order to reference whatever attribute, it's supposed to be like as the dictionary key of the found element. So in this case, we would be looking for the href. So href key would contain the particular URL as the value pair within the value corresponding to the current key. So just print. So it's not links, it's link, save, and run. And by the time it's running, so probably the very last thing, extract multiple so copy paste extract first, and here extract all other but textual node data element and data elements. So here the links would be equal to content dot find all and a tag. And again, here I would be using the list comprehension technique. So like link for link in this list. So this is the syntax for the list comprehension. So every element within this list would be replaced with this one. So we need to say link href. So if here we had this dot text, so item dot text, here we have this link href. And again, just to prettify this slightly a bit, I would like to slightly change the code layout this like way. And here we can just print our links and run the code. So here we'll already yeah, unfortunately we didn't have, so the very first href was probably empty, but it's not a big deal. So I guess other hrefs should have contained some legal valid URLs within inside, and I hope, yeah. Okay, so it's even like, yeah, so some have the JavaScript calls, but that's normal for the hrefs. But here are the here are all the links basically available. So they don't have HTTPS and the base URL all along the way. So some don't contain this, like this ones, but this doesn't really matter that much. So you can always append the HTTPS followed by the base URL to links like this in order to being able to crawl them. So this is it, guys. I did cover the most basics regarding BeautifulSoup library, basically. Also there are more complicated topics like next and previous sublinks and like next elements, parent element, child element, recursively navigate through all the elements within the parse tree. So there is a huge documentation on their side, and I would provide the link to that documentation in the description below this video. But you know, like with only this knowledge, with only this knowledge presented in this video, it's literally enough to cover the, I don't know, like 90% of web scraping jobs you might have ever encountered as a freelancers. And you know, like also if you master this in BeautifulSoup, it would be way easier to do literally the same with the Python scraping framework. And you know, like when it comes to the sublines and some complicated data extraction methods, some complicated selectors, and that is needed when, you know, like when the code layout in the HTML document is really unstructured, and it's made, like, it seems like it's made to make scrape it as hard as possible. Well, in that case, there arising some interesting techniques, but you know, that if you really wanted to learn those techniques, you would better just be watching my scraping tutorials that regards to the real world projects. And there I'm scraping real estate property site, and I'm showing those techniques right over there. But this guys presented here are the very foundation. So if you know this stuff, you can already kind of start freelancing, because it's literally enough to cover the most of jobs out there, at least on the beginner's level. So let's summarize. So we need just to make request to the target URL, parse the entire content. Then the first case you might have occurred, you need to parse the parent element, and then from the parent element you recursively find for one occurrence or multiple occurrences of the child elements. And then the child elements, if it's the only, it can be used just as is. If you need to split it, also you can, yeah, that's not here. So you can either use this element, or if it contains some extra data that you don't need, you can always split this, because it's the bare string. So just working with the Python strings knowledge would be appropriate here as well. Then you can extract first data occurrence by unique class. So this, like, so you need to specify the attribute of class and the particular class. Also remember that you can specify the multiple classes if needed, so just like been shown previously. Also you can extract all data occurrences with the unique class, and in this case you can distinguish them by indexes. That's one of the easiest way. But when you're doing this, make sure to try accept this code in case, so it might have throw some exceptions, because what is available on one page might not be available on the other page. So in that case, you wouldn't need to accept those exceptions. So saved data is not available, or it's available in a different format, things like that. So another thing, you can just join this all the elements into the single string, and you can join by whatever string. So in this case I just printed this just to show like where exactly did I join this. So you can just you can join by empty string, by new line, by whatever character. It doesn't matter really. It's all about, it's all on you how you would supposed to be joining the strings. How exactly would it, you would be supposed oh my god, how exactly you would be joining the strings. Okay. Also you can reference elements by not only by class names but by whatever attributes like ID. So in this case we did reference the button text by the ID, so specify the tag name, the class we're referencing by, and the value for this specific class. And also you can not only extract the textual values like over in here, but also the h references, or this might be the title, if this is the meta tag, it might be the content. So whatever attribute name value you want to extract, please instead of that text use this Python dictionary key reference and format, so square braces and the dictionary key name. So you would obtain the corresponding value in return. And also when you want to do this within the multiple elements produced by the content.findAll method, so if you're doing this within the list, either if you want to extract the textual data, or if you want to extract whatever text element data whatever text attribute data. Make use of what is known as the list comprehension. So this is what you need to extract. This is the syntax for the list comprehension, and this is the target list. Your kind of you're looking for data within. Also, remember that the list comprehension contains some conditionals. So you can say like if link href say equals to, and let's try to pick up some particular one. So let's say this one, copy equals to, say, this one. So in this case, so this is optional. I would command this. I say filter on condition if needed. So I just want to try to run this. So instead of given all the available links, it would just it has to give the only link that we just specified. So this one in particular, listing rethinking weight loss HTML. Yeah, and here it is. You know, like basically here it is. I'm not sure why is this. Oh yeah, it's the type of list, because yeah, these guys were the type of list as well. Yeah, so this is kind of it, but I could just comment this out, so you could play around with this code on your own. Well, okay guys, I think this is it for this tutorial, and I hope you've learned something interesting out of it. Well, at least it might be interesting from the beginner's perspective. And thanks for watching. Until the next time, and take care.